So get this. YouTube is very censorious. What does that mean? I don't even know. So they're defenders of the establishment and the establishment narrative, and YouTube relies on advertising money, right? Just like everybody. So they don't want to upset the advertisers, just like anybody. And Pfizer's a big advertiser, and blah blah, and so are Big Pharma and what have you. And so they usually, my experience has been that they're very bending to their will. But this is a story that shows that they didn't. Watch this. Watch this. So an FDA official demanded Google censor a YouTube video that the agency didn't like. So FDA wanted YouTube to take down a video. And who the story comes from this guy, Alex Berenson. So he's a former New York Times reporter and an author of 13 novels, 3 nonfiction books, and the Unreported Truths booklets. His newest book, Pandemia, on the coronavirus and our response to it, was published on November 30th. Oh, we should get that book. Maybe have him on for a convo. So this is what happened. So this guy, this is from his Substack. He says federal efforts to censor social media extend past discussions with companies like YouTube over broad guidelines about COVID-19 misinformation to specific demands for suppression of individual posts and email from an FDA. So not only is the FDA and whatever pressuring YouTube to have certain guidelines and certain policies, but they are reaching out to them about specific videos that are up on YouTube's platform. That's what that says. And this is from it says an email that was accidentally sent to independent journalist Alex Berenson. So he did a Freedom of Information request, and then to the FDA, and then he got this. Watch this. So an email that was accidentally sent to the independent journalist Alex Berenson as part of an unrelated Freedom of Information Act FOIA request has revealed that the FDA pressured a lobbyist at Google's to delete a YouTube video that explained the potential of a new monoclonal antibody treatment for COVID-19. The email, dated April 30th, 2021, was sent to Jan Fowler Antonaros, a lobbyist for Google, YouTube's parent company, by FDA Director of Social Media Brad Kimberly, who wrote that the 3-minute video about a new drug called leronlimab, I guess that's how you say it, was very problematic when it comes to furthering COVID misinformation. So this is somebody at the FDA is writing someone at Google owns YouTube, about a specific 3-minute video that they wanted taken down. And here's the email. So this email got accidentally sent to this guy. They were trying to pretend they didn't do this. And then when he got his Freedom of Information request, this was attached to it, which they didn't mean to attach it. So and here's what this says. It says, "Good afternoon. I just wanted to flag a video that we believe is misleading when it comes to COVID-19. I submitted a report through YouTube proper, but I'm flagging your attention as well. This video is misleading. The drug identified has not been identified by the U.S. FDA as safe and effective against COVID-19 and is not authorized or approved for such use." Well, the video didn't say either of those. The video agreed with that, so it wasn't approved. The video was not incorrect. It also conflates the Filipino FDA and the U.S. FDA by misusing the U.S. FDA logo and implying that it is planning to evaluate the drug for an emergency use authorization, which isn't true. Overall, the video is very problematic when it comes to COVID misinformation. Combined with the unauthorized use of intellectual property, this video should be pulled. And that's Brad Kimberly from the FDA. YouTube looked into the video, and they declined to take it down. YouTube initially declined to remove the video. However, it has since been taken offline. Yes, but not by YouTube. According to our sources, it was the video creator that made it private. So that's kind of amazing. I suspected stuff like this was going on all the time. So, people are complaining about us, right? Directly to YouTube and Google. So we know that's happening. Well, we 99%, 100% suspected it happening. We didn't have any concrete proof, but now here's concrete proof that kind of stuff happens all the time. So we know that inside the White House is Neera Tanden, who's a hater of me and this show, and has tweeted about getting me deplatformed from this before in a dishonest way. That's someone inside the White House. So I'm sure they've been complaining to YouTube and Google about me, and certainly Facebook. Facebook does their bogus fake fact checks. They're all bogus. And so Alex says how often the FDA has made other censorship demands is unknown, because the agency is apparently hiding the existence of its efforts in response to Freedom of Information Act requests. Because they didn't tell them, they didn't tell Alex about that. That was an accident that they let him see that email where the FDA was asking Google to take down a video. That was an accident. So they're trying to, they're hiding the existence of this stuff happening. In October, I asked the FDA and several government agencies to disclose both their internal discussions about me and their communications with social media companies like Twitter and YouTube about censoring COVID misinformation in general. Boy, we should do one of these. We should do a FOIA request to the FDA on anything that they've ever said about me. Let's do that. In November 30th, the FDA responded it had found some emails about me, mainly in response to questions I had asked in April and May for a story about VAERS, the Federal Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System. But FDA said it could not find any emails between its officials and social media companies that met my request. So that appears to be a 100% lie, because they accidentally sent one to them. Yet at the bottom of the emails containing the agency's discussions about me was the email between Kimberly and Antonaros, apparently attached there by accident, as it had nothing to do with me. The monoclonal antibody leronlimab is being developed by a small and troubled drug company called Cytodyne, whose stock trades around $1 a share. Cytodyne has repeatedly touted leronlimab, but clinical trials results suggest the drug is useless against COVID. In May, the FDA publicly stated the data currently available do not support the clinical benefit of leronlimab for the treatment of COVID-19 and said it had no plans to approve the drug. So if that drug is not approved and people can't get it, why does anyone care that there's a video up talking about a drug that nobody can get and it is not approved? Why do they want to take that video down? Well, because leronlimab remains unapproved, it is effectively unavailable to patients. Thus, whatever its potential side effects or lack of effectiveness, it is not actually a risk to anyone except Cytodyne's investors, who are not the FDA's concern. So the only people that this drug's a risk to is their investors, because it's not being approved. And so nobody can use it and nobody can get any harmful side effects from it because nobody can get it. So yet they still wanted YouTube to take the video down. Isn't that amazing? It is to me. In response to Kimberly's email, Antonaros responded on May 6th that YouTube had reviewed the video and found it did not violate the company's guidelines, probably because it did not promise the leronlimab would cure COVID. It didn't promise that. It only touted its potential and encouraged the FDA to allow it under an emergency use authorization. That's all okay to do. In fact, that's what they usually do. That's what drug companies do. They do PR campaigns to get their drugs approved. But they wanted this video down. Yet the video has since disappeared from YouTube. It is now available only at the Internet Archive. So I find that fascinating, interesting. that YouTube and Google are being pressured by outside or governmental organizations to censor Americans. So just as we said, but that God bless YouTube, they pushed back. YouTube didn't censor it. So we have a gentleman who works with us from YouTube who's our liaison, and he seems like a solid dude who actually wants to help our channel. And it's, I understand it's a tough position for YouTube to be in. I understand they rely on advertising like everybody else, but they also want to not censor, but they're put in this unenviable position of having to do this stuff. So they do it, but they didn't do it in this case. So I guess tip of the hat to YouTube in this case, right? Look at that. But YouTube has become very, it's just not a safe place anymore to speak your mind freely and to tell truths. So we're on Rumble. So I hope Rumble takes off like a son of a gun. I really do. I hope it blows up. And that way, because right now, YouTube, I totally need YouTube. YouTube is an amazing delivery system. They have the greatest video delivery system invented. It's YouTube. And so there's no other video platform that can reach the people that YouTube does. That's just not even close. But hopefully, people will, like-minded people who who are against censorship will gravitate towards places like Rumble. So there you go. Rockfin is still going. We're still on Rockfin too, and Super U. So there's also Super U, which is just brand new, up and running. There's lots of glitches, so let them get their sea legs underneath them before you judge them. Okay, there you go. YouTube getting pressured by the FDA to censor Americans, just like we were afraid of. Hey, come see one of our live stand-up shows December 10th or 17th or New Year's Eve at the Two Roads Theater in Studio City, California. See you there. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all tickets.